John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born May 29, 1917, in Brookline, Massachusetts, to wealthy businessman and politician Joseph P. Joe Kennedy and philanthropist socialite Rose Elizabeth Fitzgerald. He was the second son to be born to Joe and Rose Kennedy. John, or Jack as he was also called, attended many high-ranking schools and graduated from the Coates School in 1935. He was voted most likely to succeed after high school by his classmates. After graduating from high school, he attended Harvard University and studied law and political science. Jack graduated from Harvard in 1940 with a master's degree in law and a background in political science.
In September 1941, JFK and his brother Joe joined the Navy. Joe was a flyer who was sent to Europe, and JFK was made lieutenant commander of a patrol torpedo boat in the South Pacific. Kennedy had a crew of 12 men whose mission was to stop the Japanese from delivering supplies to their soldiers. On the night of August 2nd, 1943, Lieutenant Kennedy's crew patrolled the waters looking for enemy ships to sink. A Japanese destroyer suddenly became visible, but it was traveling at full speed and headed straight at them. Holding the wheel, Lieutenant Kennedy tried to swerve out of the way, but to no avail. The much larger Japanese warship rammed the PT-109, splitting it in half and killing 2 of Lieutenant Kennedy's men. The others managed to jump off as their boat went up in flames. Lieutenant Kennedy was slammed hard against the cockpit, once again injuring his already weak back.
When he returned home, JFK was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for his leadership and courage. After serious discussions with his father about his future, Joe convinced Jack that he should run for Congress in Massachusetts' 11th Congressional District, where he won in 1946. This was the beginning of Jack's political career. As the years went on, JFK served 3 terms in the House of Representatives, and in 1952 he was elected to the U.S. Senate. JFK was becoming a popular politician. He was almost picked to run for vice president in 1956. Kennedy then decided that he would run for president in the next election. On July 13, 1960, the Democratic Party nominated him as its candidate for president. In the general election on November 8, 1960, Kennedy defeated the Republican Vice President Richard M. Nixon in a very close race. At the age of 43, Kennedy was the youngest elected president and the first Catholic.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. I do not believe that any of us would exchange places with any other people or any other generation. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
The possibility of nuclear war between the United States and the Soviet Union was becoming a threat. JFK knew that if there was a war, millions of people would die. Because they distrusted each other, both countries spent enormous amounts of money building nuclear weapons. There are many times the struggle between the Soviet Union and the United States could have ended in a nuclear war, such as the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, but JFK was successful at negotiating terms, keeping the world safe from nuclear destruction.
Today, every inhabitant of this planet must contemplate the day when this planet may no longer be habitable. Every man, woman, and child lives under a nuclear sword of Damocles, hanging by the slenderest of threads, capable of being cut at any moment by accident or miscalculation or by madness. The weapons of war must be abolished before they abolish us.
President Kennedy had many problems to deal with in the United States. The biggest problem was racial discrimination. By June 11, 1963, however, President Kennedy decided that the time had come to take action to help the civil rights struggle. He proposed a new civil rights bill to the Congress, and he went on television asking Americans to end racism. 100 years of delay has passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free, he said. This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds, on the principle that all men are created equal. President Kennedy made it clear that all Americans, regardless of their skin color, should enjoy a good and happy life in the United States.
We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the Scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place? Who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay? 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, are not fully free. They are not yet freed from the bonds of injustice. They are not yet freed from social and economic oppression. And this nation, for all its hopes and all its boasts, will not be fully free until all its citizens are free.
The Kennedys believed that the White House should be a place to celebrate American history, culture, and achievement. They invited artists, writers, scientists, poets, musicians, actors, and athletes to visit them. These acts are still carried out 50 years after JFK's presidency.
On November 21, 1963, President Kennedy flew to Texas to give several political speeches. The next day, as his car drove slowly past cheering crowds in Dallas, shots rang. Kennedy was seriously wounded and died a few hours later. Within a few hours of the shooting, police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald and charged him with the murder of the president.